Welcome to Quest Tales. Here we journey beyond the veil of the ordinary into lands where magic breathes, swords sing, and ancient secrets wait to be uncovered. If you love fantasy, folklore, and the thrill of a well-told tale, you've found your sanctuary. So sit back, relax, and let the world outside fade away. The Lost Quest of Sir Cedric the Bold, Part 2. Cedric did not sleep that night. His camp was set up at the base of the crag, when his mind was far from the dragon's lair. He lay on the ground, staring at the stars, the biting wind carrying fragments of the dragon's words. What if they are lies? What if my king is no better than the beast I'm meant to slay? The knight's mind wandered back to Elmsbridge, to his home, to the years he had spent serving a kingdom that had never truly honored him. He had fought wars for kings who only sought power, not peace. He had been hailed as a hero, but all the while there was something gnawing at him, a question he had never dared ask. What does it mean to be a hero? It was an old question, one that every soldier, every knight, must ask themselves at some point. And now, on the eve of his most important battle, Cedric realized that he had never really answered it. The kingdom had needed him, but had the kingdom ever truly needed him? Or had it needed the symbol of him? The shining knight who wielded a sword to defend it. Had they cared for the man beneath the armor, or only the legend he had become? In the distance, a distant roar echoed through the night, shattering the quiet. It wasn't the sound of a battle, but something else, something lonely, aching, and deep. Cedric stood, his thoughts swirling, and stared up at the towering cliffs. He could feel the weight of the dragon's eyes on him even now, watching from the shadows. The beast was waiting for him to make a choice, and for the first time, Cedric did not know what to do. The next morning, Cedric climbed to the crag once more, the weight of his armor now feeling almost unbearable. He didn't draw his sword this time. Instead, he walked into the dragon's lair with a sense of purpose, but it was not the same purpose that had driven him before. Tharagon was waiting for him, as still and silent as the mountains around them. The dragon did not rise, did not move to attack. He simply watched, his golden eyes gleaming in the dim light. "I know what you are thinking, knight," Tharagon said, his voice softer now, almost like a sigh. "But there is more at stake than your king, than your kingdom. The truth is far older than you know." Cedric stood before the dragon, his sword at his side. "What truth?" "The truth of what you are really fighting for," Tharagon replied, "and what you are willing to sacrifice to protect it." The dragon paused, and for the first time Cedric saw not a creature of fire and destruction, but something more. A creature who had known loss, who had known what it meant to have everything taken from him. "Your kingdom," Tharagon continued, "is not what you think it is. It was never about protecting the people. It was never about honor. It was about control." Cedric's heart pounded, but he did not speak. His mind was racing. Was the dragon lying, or was there some truth to his words? The dragon's gaze softened again, a flicker of something like sadness in his eyes. "The kingdom you fight for is built on a foundation of lies, and those lies will destroy it." Cedric took a step back, his mind reeling. The weight of the dragon's words pressed on him like a stone, threatening to crush him. "I must return to my king," Cedric said, his voice barely a whisper. "I have a duty." "Yes," the dragon said softly. "But which duty, knight? The one you have sworn, or the one you have yet to discover?" Cedric returned to his camp and descended the crag the following morning, his steps slow and uncertain. The echoes of the dragon's words haunted him, reverberating through his mind like a distant thunder. The truth of what you're really fighting for? The dragon had not been lying, had he? Tharagon had seemed so sure, so certain, and his words had struck a chord deep within Cedric's soul. And how could this be? The kingdom had always been his purpose. It had been the very fabric of his existence since he could remember. Protecting the people, fighting for the king, defending the realm from whatever threats emerged. To doubt it now felt like a betrayal of everything he had ever believed in. He had sworn an oath, a sacred vow to King Eldric, his childhood friend and the ruler of Elmsbridge. Loyalty. That had been the creed Cedric had lived by. To abandon that now would mean abandoning everything. It would mean casting aside a lifetime of service. Yet, as the wind howled through the mountains and the weight of his sword pressed against his side, Cedric felt like a man trapped between two worlds. The journey back to Elmsbridge was a blur. He passed through villages once vibrant, now scarred by the dragon's fury. Each ruined house, each desolate field only deepened the question that gnawed at him. Was Tharagon really the cause of all this destruction? Or was he merely a creature pushed to the edge, fighting for survival in a world that had abandoned him? By the time Cedric reached the gates of Elmbridge, the familiar sight of the kingdom's stone walls felt like a prison. The banners of the king fluttered in the wind, and the soldiers stood at attention as he passed, hailing him as the hero who had returned from the crag. They did not know what had truly transpired, nor did they understand the weight Cedric carried in his heart. King Aldric was waiting in the throne room, flanked by his advisors, all whom looked at Cedric with eager eyes. They had heard the rumors. The dragon was slain. The kingdom was safe. They expected a triumphant return. They expected victory. But Cedric could not bring himself to speak the words they wanted to hear. "My lord," Cedric began, kneeling before the king, his voice low. "I have failed." A murmur spread through the chamber, and Aldric's brow furrowed. "Failed? What do you mean? The dragon is dead. You have done your duty." "I have seen the dragon," Cedric said, his voice heavy with the weight of his uncertainty. And I do not believe he is the threat we thought he was." Aldric's eyes hardened, and his hand clenched into a fist. "What are you saying, Cedric? You went to slay the beast, and you're telling me now that it was not a monster? The dragon destroyed Meromir. Do you deny that?" "No," Cedric replied, lifting his gaze to meet the king's. "But there is more to this than what you have told me. More than what we have been told for generations." Aldrich's expression shifted, a flicker of something like anger crossing his face. "What are you implying, Cedric?" Cedric swallowed, struggling to keep his composure. "I am implying that the dragon may not be the monster, but the kingdom that sent me to kill him might be." The words hung in the air like a curse, and for a moment the throne room was silent. The advisors exchanged looks, and Aldric's face reddened. "You dare question the kingdom?" Aldric's voice was cold now, a sharp edge to it that Cedric had never heard before. "You, of all people. You who have sworn an oath to me, to us." "I swore an oath to protect this kingdom," Cedric said, standing up, his voice shaking with emotion. "But I am beginning to wonder if I am protecting the wrong thing." Aldric's eyes narrowed, and for the first time, Cedric saw something darker lurking behind his old friend's gaze. "You would question me after all I've done for you, for this kingdom? You think this is about one dragon? This is about survival, Cedric. Do you not understand? If we do not take control, if we do not act, we will be overrun. This is a war." "A war against who, Aldric?" Cedric countered, stepping closer to the throne. "The dragons were not our enemies. It was humans who betrayed them, and now we are continuing the cycle. We destroy what we do not understand." The king's face twisted with fury. "Enough, Cedric! You are speaking heresy. You were sent to do a job, and you failed. I will not stand here and listen to you question the very foundations of this kingdom. This is bigger than one man, bigger than you. You will obey your king, or you will leave." Cedric's heart raced. The king's word, once filled with friendship and camaraderie, now felt like a blade against his ribs. He wanted to leave, to walk away from this place, from the lies, from the duty that had shackled him for so long, but he knew the consequences. "I will leave, then," Cedric said, his voice firm. "But I will not be the one to kill Tharagon, and I will not be part of a kingdom that kills innocent creatures out of fear and greed." With that, he turned and left the throne room, his mind made up. It would no longer be the king's pawn. He would seek his own path, and that path, he realized, led back to the crag. Cedric did not return to the crag immediately. Instead, he went to the place where he had first learned the truths of the world, the dusty, forgotten library of Elmsbridge. He spent days poring over ancient texts, sifting through myths, legends, and the histories that had been buried under the layers of royal propaganda. It was there, amidst the forgotten books and dusty scrolls, that Cedric uncovered the truth of the dragons, their fall from grace, the ancient bond they had shared with humanity, and the betrayal that had sparked a war that lasted centuries. The dragons had not been the aggressors. They had been the guardians, the stewards of magic, the protectors of the natural world. But when greed and fear took root in human hearts, they had turned on the dragons, hunting them down for their power. The great dragon lords had fallen, their kin slaughtered, and the last of their kind, Tharagon, had been left alone to mourn the destruction of his race. Cedric closed the final book, his heart heavy with the weight of what he had learned. He understood now. The battle was not over the dragon's life, but over the life of something greater, the truth of the world, and the way it had been twisted by the very people who claimed to be its saviors. He had been a soldier in a war that was not his own, and now he would choose a different path. That's it for today's story. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this tale, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories just like this one. Tap the bell so you never miss an upload, and if you have thoughts, theories, or just want to say hello, drop a comment below and I'd love to talk to you. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring those forgotten places. See you in the next one.